The light was drowning you out in the back. How are you?
I'm good. How's your day going?
Good, doing good. It's hot over here. Probably hot over there too, though.
What's the temperature over there?
It is like 84. That's hot.
Oh.
That's hot for us Colorado people.
That's Denver hot, yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Denver, so yeah.
Well, it's not like your guys' is hot. I've been in Texas hot, so I can't complain too much.
I hear you. What do you do down in Texas?
I don't do anything in Texas. Well, I go visit, like just visit friends and family, but I've been there. Like we have a family that lives Thousand Oaks. Yeah, and so we go out there, and then I just lay on their pool all day long. I'm like, let me get in my one day of tanning.
It's to be here in this heat. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then I get my one day of tanning, and then I'm like, I'm good for the whole year. Yeah. I was like, I won't need to tan until next summer. Okay, I'm going to go tell my boss that you're on, so then we'll get started. So, just a brief before I go tell him, it might look weird because I look this way because I'm looking at the live cameras. So I'm not ignoring you, which I'll catch myself looking at you, but it always looks weird to everybody because we're like looking back and forth.
I'm just confused because all I see is my board over here, which is like...
Oh no, it's probably just because it's a small space, but when we're live, we could see all of you.
Oh.
So you'll be able to see all of you. All right, let me tell him real quick. Okay, Hefe.
So, who's all here today? Is it just me and you, or do we have someone else joining?
Just me and you.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all about you, friend.
That's terrible.
All right, here we go. What up, everybody? It's your girl, Melissa. Woo woo, y'all. It is Friday. Come on, somebody. It is beautiful out. I'm ready to kind of go out in the warm weather, but I'm not ready. You know, I'm a little mixture there. So, super excited, y'all, for my guest today. But before we get started, you know what I'm going to ask you to do, like I always do. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button, because we're going to have an amazing guest talk about amazing things, and you always want to share it with your friends and family, and the way that you can make that happen is by hitting the like and share button, because as you know, in the algorithm, it gets lost. So if you comment, like, and share, it gets it out there for more people to see. And so we're not just hitting it for the likes, which although I hope you like it, we do it so that more information can get out to everybody and not just you. So go ahead now and go ahead and comment, tag some people, like it, share it, and then we're going to get started. And so today I am so excited because I have an amazing guest with me, and his name is Andrew Barlow. Y'all, he's an entrepreneur, family man, an author, and he has a new book that just came out, but I'm going to hand over the spotlight to him so he can introduce himself and tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Well, geez, I mean, I don't even know how I follow that, but thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today with you guys. Yeah, so my name's Andrew. I'm a San Antonio native, Texan. I visit Denver frequently, so I am just a guy out here trying to make it happen, just a day at a time, one foot in front of the other. I enjoy, partnerships and starting and helping businesses thrive and just having an impact in people's lives as however I can do so.
Yes, and so amazing because I love how you said that about helping impact people's lives. On here on Ignite, we talk about a lot, or at least I talk about here, is my win is your win and your win is my win. And so for me, it's like, it's not about competing with somebody, as we always say. It's about helping that person and growing with them, because if you win, I win. And when I win, you win, and we're growing together and impacting, whatever we're doing together, no matter what field it is, no matter what we're doing. So I love that you said that, because a lot of people out there don't believe in that philosophy. So it's kind of hard, when people are always competing against each other. But it's great when you find people who are authentically helping one another and genuinely trying to grow together. So I love that you said that. And so, sorry, I caught you right as you were taking and so, that always happens. I'm not later, right? Catch you, how's your food doing? I'll let you go.
No, I'm just totally right there with you. I mean, it's all about collaboration. I think, we all have similar goals, right? Everyone wants to improve their quality of life by whatever that may be, progressing in their career, or, if they have a business, more sales. It's like we're all trying to do the same thing. So,
yeah.
The more we can just band together and build, we all win,
Yes, and so, we talk about a lot on this show. For those of you who are like repeat listeners, faithful listeners, y'all know we talk a lot on here about self-care. So I'm excited to talk with you today, because I know your book talks about a lot, but it also talks about the self-care aspect of it. And so, we're not going to give all the details away, guys, because you're going to have to go buy the book, okay? I'm just saying right now. And we're going to drop the links. But, I love the name of the book about Make It Happen. And there's so much just in depth with just that title. And so I just want to know if you can expound just a little bit, not giving anything away, but just expound a little bit on what the book is and where you got to this place in writing the book.
Yeah, sure. I guess let's start backwards then on how I got there. I just remember being this, I'm one of those weirdos that knew, like, at 14, I'm, like, telling you, like, how I'm going to start this business and, like, the typical selling candy and, stuff like that. But, how I got to the book is, like, I just remember being at a point when I was, like, I want to say, like, 21, and I was just, like, I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be in life, but where I was completely different. I was working at Olive Garden, actually. I mean, shout out to anyone, the restaurant game. And I just felt like I was meant for more, and I was just, like, every day I would just go home and pray, like, Lord, like, give me an opportunity, give me some sort of a chance, like, just help me find someone who can help me get to the next level. And, I was reading all the books and whatnot, and, seminars, and, so I was actively doing my part to try and, get to the next level, but still, sometimes, we need, whatever that may be, the right person, right connection, or just opportunity. So, yeah, just being in that position of, like, I would do anything, I just kind of started documenting things. Like,
yeah.
So I've been a serial documenter, like, forever. And then, finally, like, 3 years ago, I got to the point where I was like, all right, we're gonna start putting this into a book, and we're gonna do one book and then just kind of keep expanding upon it. So I had that vision, and then I started doing it, and kind of getting content together. I would always, just write something, like, here and there, and then I got to the point where it was like, all right, we need to get this out. Like, we need to get this out in someone's hands, because there's definitely someone who's been there before. So we can get this out, it helps one person, like, turn it around, then we're winning, right? So
yes.
My mother actually passed away last year, and I was just like, what is kind of pending in my life, and it was the book. So I set myself a deadline, And once that happened, it was history. I basically, put myself on milestones every day. I had to, complete so much content and whatnot. Set a target date for it to launch, and then here we are.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, the backstory is basically, I've just been in that position of where I just needed a break. I needed some sort of light. I needed some sort of motivation. I needed some sort of advice. So I wanted to, help that person that's been there before. And we've all been there.
Yeah.
Different stages of our lives. I mean, even now, as you want to climb up the ladder, you hit blocks. So we got to the title, it just kind of came to me. It was just make it happen. It's something that I realize I say 50 times a day, and I really believe, wholeheartedly, when you just decide, it's a mindset. It's just make it happen. It's just thinking solution based. Whatever we're tasked with, we're gonna make it happen. So that's how we got here. That's how we got the name, and yeah.
So that's awesome. So one, condolences to your mom about your mom passing away, and our guests in the show today in the chat say they're sorry to hear that as well. So I want to give our condolences on that. It's never easy losing somebody. I lost my brother a couple years ago, and it's still it feels unreal. So you never. I don't know. It's a yeah. It's always something there. A couple of things that you said that I really liked is, one, you said when you asked God, when you cried out to God, and I think that's so important because, as a lot of us on the show, some of us are believers, some of us are not, and it's always good to know that there's people out there that still cry out to God and say, God, what do I do? How do I put this in my life? There's a scripture in there that says, you'll direct my path. Everything I do, you'll direct my path. And so crying out to God and asking, and a little off topic, but even we've talked about accountability, stuff like that. Ask God to bring those people into your life. Ask God to make it happen. And that's exactly what you did. God, show me the way and help me do what I need to do next. And so my second thing is, you said in there about documenting everything, and I want to ask, what makes you, or not what makes you, but what is the importance of documenting everything for those that are out there that want to write a book, or maybe not even a book, maybe just something else that they have a vision for? What is the importance of documenting stuff down?
Yeah, so that's huge. I just want to, you said something and it just kind of touched on something, but I think on, being able to cry out to God, and I think one thing that's very important is, especially in anyone trying to accomplish something very significant, you need to learn to be vulnerable, and also, have humility. It's very easy for us to have it when we have nothing, and, everything is, you're kind of waiting for opportunities, and you're willing to take anything, but, as you get a little more established and you grow and get a little older, we become a little more stubborn, and we feel like we can do everything on our own. And
yes.
It can't be far from the truth. We need, whether you believe that you need God, or you need, your family or your friends or your support system, your business partners, your clients, we all need someone. And the sooner you learn to be vulnerable, you can get over that, and you can accomplish so many more things, just knowing wholeheartedly who you are and, what you're chasing. So I just love that you said I had to hit on that. But as far as the documentation, it is key because, it's just like style, right? People rock bell bottoms again and all this wild stuff. But it's it's reciprocal. Everything that you go through now, you're going to go through it again. And why not leave yourself a manual on how to, how you experience that in the past? We get so many hidden gems a day, and you don't even realize it. Just because you're in the motion, and that's one thing that I'm focused on most, is just being intentional and being right there in the moment. This year is really just about being in the moment, putting that phone down during a meeting, during a conversation, just being wholeheartedly here with whoever I'm speaking with, meeting with, etc. So, the documenting is huge because it really just not only gives you the blueprint, but it holds you accountable. It makes just life so much easier for you to have. a guideline and a roadmap. And that's one thing, a little bit in the book, we talk about goals and goal setting, but if you're not writing it down, I mean, what are you doing? It's like you wouldn't drive to, from Denver to LA without a map,
I mean, some of you might, but we're not going to go there.
I mean, in everything, life especially, you need a map. You need guidance, and you need to know exactly what you're trying to do, where you're trying to get to. So it's very important to have those things documented so you can stay on the course.
Yes, and one thing that I love that you said is being intentional, because a lot of the times, everyone thinks like these things happen overnight. Even though we know it doesn't, people still think like, man, it just happened overnight. Like, no, it's a process that took, whether it took a couple months, a couple years, whatever it may be, it's a process to get there. And so being intentional and writing things down and knowing like where you want to go. And I love that because also when you write things down, it's putting it out there. Like you have it out there, you have it, and it's now visual that you can see, and it's not something that can go away. And so when you're being intentional and you're writing everything down, who are the people that you have supporting you? What kind of circle do you have, or would you suggest to people in helping you accomplish that? Because there's one thing of being intentional about it, writing it down, but also I believe you have to have that support group of people to help you get there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big believer in you need to be your own biggest fan. I mean, people are going to let you down, let's be honest. And it may be in a way that you weren't even unintentional of that person, but you may hold them to, you have to be solid on your own first. And so I want to say that first. Like, people have these visions, these goals, these ambitions. Like, that is for you. It is your goal. It is your vision. It's no one else's. It's no one else's responsibility to get behind your cause. It's yours. So you got to own that and be confident and comfortable in that. Now, with that being said, I firmly believe the people that you are surround yourself with is, you hear all the time, name the 5 people you're around, and, that's a reflection of you and whatnot. And I couldn't say, I think it's 100% true. I mean, obviously there's going to be people around you that, are not doing the same things that you're doing. You may have some family members, some old friends, and, you guys may be on different, paths, but you still love them, you still support them. But really, I mean, the people that you are meeting with, having dinner with, conversating with, that is going to pour into you. So if you're not protecting that, I mean, you're just putting, watering your plants with soda.
Ooh, come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I personally, my friends are all rock stars. I mean, all of them. They all pour into me. They all make me feel like I'm, a star. And we do that for each other, and we just build. I mean, if I've got something going on, they want to know how they can get in it, or, and it's very important to be around people like that, because they keep you growing. There's no time for being stale or getting, it's momentum.
And I love that you said that about people pouring into you, because I think a lot of times you might be like the strongest friend, right? Like you're always pouring into everybody else, but who do you have pouring into you? And so I love that you brought that up, because for those that don't have people to pour into them, maybe they have big dreams, they have big visions of like where they want to go in doing something. What would you suggest as finding those people for you, if you know your circle around you right now are not the people who are going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is like just to be, like I mentioned before, like if it's your goal, it's your vision. Like you have to be 100% like comfortable with knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses. Like, so you got to be like dead on self-aware. Like you need to know like I've got this bad habit, or this is not going to work for this life that I want to build. So it should be very easy once you come to terms with yourself. Those people around you that probably aren't the best,
Yeah.
and like I said, you don't have to cut them off, but you definitely do need to limit the amount of time that you're around those folks. As far as finding new people, I think you know, like momentum creates like people that are moving and shaking want to be around people that are moving and shaking.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're going to see you, and you put yourself in more opportunities to be around more folks that are like-minded. So, you know, as you start moving, you know, you need to get out. You need to be joining, you know, whatever's in your city. You know, go to some events, go to some conferences. You know, whatever you have to do. You know, post on social media like, hey, I'm trying to do this. Is there anyone that would like to join me for a coffee? I'm trying to learn. People love to help, you know. So, and that's another thing. Don't ever be afraid to reach out to people, you know, that are doing it in your space, and you want to be like, I guarantee you, if you tell them, hey, can I take you to coffee? I really want to learn. People are more than happy to help. You know, I think more so people are afraid to ask.
Yeah, and y'all, just so you don't get discouraged, because your girl is one of those, I've asked thousands of people for help in the profession that I am, and I think like on the thousands of people I've asked, you know, for every like 100 you get like 2 people that are like willing to help you. So I would just say don't get discouraged, because you gotta have thick skin in whatever you're gonna do, because you're gonna get a lot of no's. One thing, okay, I'm gonna be off topic for a second, but you know, I praise actors and actresses, because you know how many times they get turned down? Like, you have to have some good self-esteem to know like how many shows, how many things you get turned down, and then you finally get that one yes. And so I feel like, in a sense, in whatever you're doing, be like them. Like, have that confidence. Like Andrew said, you got to know yourself. You truly do. Like, you got to be comfortable with you and know yourself. But also, like, have enough skin to be like, it's all right. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And there are people who truly do help you. But like I said, and it might be different depending on which profession, because some people are so willing to help, and then there's others that are gatekeepers. Come on, somebody. And like my friend said, don't be like me. Y'all who watch the show know I have the spirit of the cutoff. So just don't cut people off, okay? He's going to give you better advice than me.
No, cut him off.
I'm like, you're done, okay? But I love how you brought up momentum, because it's so true about having people, you know, if you're slowing down my momentum, then I got to let you go. And let's just be real, because if you're slowing down my momentum, I'm slowing down your momentum. And so we're not moving together, and we're not flowing together. And I love you, I care for you, but like, you know, I got to keep moving into what I have and my dream and my vision. So I love that you brought your momentum up. And so you just had your first book signing, right? The first one, was it the first one?
That was the first one, yeah.
Okay, how did it go, and will you be having more?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, just like the amount of support that was there, it was fantastic. You know, it was incredible. And we had a pianist there. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, the Vanessa attorney put it on with Crane Creatives. She kind of always works magic here in Texas with James, her partner. It was incredible. So, yeah, great. It was great. We're definitely going to have more. We got a lot of stuff in store for the book, so we'll be pushing that really hard over the next couple months, and doing some more stuff here in Texas, out of Texas, so we'll be on the road, and yeah, exciting stuff coming.
And so I know you're an entrepreneur, so what else do you do, sir?
I guess outside of the business world, I'm a golfer. I'm a dad.
Yes.
And you might see him running here because we're from the house. Yeah, I mean, so I think, you know, just time with my little guy when I'm not building, and play a little golf when I can, and I'm a foodie. I love restaurants.
Oh, come on, share with the food.
Love cooking, eating, wine. Yeah, just having a good time. You know, time is short. I just enjoy, you know, good people, good food, good wine, and just having the best moments we can.
Yes, and so how would you say you balance that out? Because I know sometimes, you know, with entrepreneurs and business, sometimes that balance is hard. And what key tips maybe have worked for you that you could give advice out there for others that help
Yeah,
with balance?
I feel like maybe like 75-year-old me has a different answer to this, but there is no damn balance when you're building. Like, you're gonna get calls. I mean, it all depends like what you're doing, but you get calls at 5 a.m., 10 a.m., 9 p.m., 12 p.m., and you just gotta be up to the challenge. I mean, obviously you try and put as many systems in place, put the best people in place, and obviously you need to learn how to delegate. But let's be real. There's always going to be, things pulling at you, whatever. You just got to learn when to say no, learn when to pick up the phone, learn when to put the phone down. But, I mean, the balance is just going to be what you create of, your time. I mean, I feel like there's all these books on balance and things, and, like, I feel like there's no right way. Like, I think everyone has a different life. Everyone has different things going on, and I think really what balance is prioritizing what's important to you. I think that's the best description I can give of it.
Okay, so one thing I heard you say was when to say no. And so I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people, right? Because everybody's kind of like somewhat deep down. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like somewhere deep down, everybody's always kind of like a yes person in the deep hearts of it, and they just want to be like yes, yes, yes. And so has there ever been a time that maybe this opportunity looked great, but in the long run you knew it wasn't what was best at the time and you had said no? Have you said no, actually? Have you said no to an opportunity, and how did that turn out for you?
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. I think, like, the more, especially in the entrepreneurial world, the more you kind of get going and you're doing multiple projects, you're going to have people approaching you all the time. So it's a frequent game. I do a little real estate as well, and that's one of my passions, and we're working on some development projects now in San Antonio. But all the time, I'll see a flip or a property come across. And, I mean, even yesterday I saw one and I'm like, I will rack my brain and like that will keep me up. I'm like, should I do it? Should I do it? And sometimes I'll pass because you can't do everything. You can't take on every project. But I've seen them like where I've said no, and then I come back and I've seen this person make a crazy profit on this deal, and I'm just like, But you gotta just learn to turn the page. You can't do everything.
Yes, and I like how you said that because I think sometimes in our heads, right, as entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur myself, I call myself a mompreneur because I'm a mom, but but there's a lot of times where you're like, you feel like you have to say yes to everything, and so being able to say no, and knowing that. But I think too that's, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's where your support group kind of comes in too, because they're able to help you balance that. Would I be wrong in that?
I mean, it's something I'm still dealing with. And, when I come in this office and I put my collar cape on, like, I can say no to anybody. Like, I don't care who you are. Jeff Bezos can be across here, and, if it doesn't work, that's fine. But then outside of, work, I am working on saying no more because I just try to help whoever I can, whatever it may be. I'll put myself in an inconvenience to help someone. So I think it's, the business world is very much aligned with our personal lives, right? So it's I mean, that's something I'm still working on.
I think we're all working on that, guys. Like, don't get discouraged out there. We all have improvements, and that's why you got to get this book. Get yourself some self-care, some goals, everything in there. And so you got to read it. You got to check it out. So where are the places that people can go? We're gonna link it in the at the end too, so you guys can go. But let us know where people can go to find your book and buy your book.
Awesome, yeah. So you can buy it on the Apple App Store under Make It Happen. It's on Amazon. You can get it under the e-version. You just want to check it out on your phone, iPad, Kindle, or you can buy the paperback, which I highly recommend. I think it's great. Like, I think for certain activities, I'm a big fan. I always have an audiobook going, and that version's coming soon. But I always have an audiobook version, but I always have a paperback that I'm reading as well. I think it's important that, we have spaces where we do certain things, like you have space for you to use the restroom. That's the only place you go. So, but, I mean, the kitchen, is to eat. So I think a lot of times, like, people struggle with reading. They struggle with, writing their ideas down. Like, so you need, your brain food is just as important as, the food that you put in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Or the gym. I mean, how can you commit to go to the gym every day and you won't lift weights for your brain? So, I think it's very important to have a space where, you go and, get out ideas as well as take them in. So that's why I think it is important for the paperback world to still exist. So you can buy it on Amazon, you get the paperback as well. And, we're working on the audiobook as we speak.
Yes, and I love that you said that about books, because I'm a book nerd and like I love reading, and so those who know me know I'm always like probably read like 2 books a week. Like I just
Goodness.
reading. Like it is just, you find so much knowledge, you find so much things. But the thing that I love though, and that you brought up, is because people are like, why don't you just listen to audio? And I'm like, I can't, because like again, it goes back to the visual of seeing things. And for me, I like to highlight my books and go back in, because when you learn stuff, right, you're like, oh, I remember in that book, and then you could go back and flip to the page where you saw it and like get more out of what you're reading. And so, not that I'm discouraging you Audible people, but I'm just saying, get yourself a book. And so, I have to ask, because you were probably, I know you were the kid that was taking my money in the lunchroom. You bring in all the snacks, and you're like, here you go. And I'm like, all right, just take my money. Because, you started at a young age, you talked about. So, you always wanted to be business, and you're just out there hustling. And I was like, I'm the one who's just paying. I'm the one who gets caught at the register. Like, I'll just throw these last little items here. But I have to ask, who are the people who inspired you growing up, and just that you looked up to, that made you want to get out there and do more creatively and business-wise and writing your book? I know your mom was probably one of them, but who else out there, just inspired you growing up? Like, who are those people that you look to?
Yeah, I would say my dad was someone I looked up to. I saw him kind of come up from absolutely nothing, and I saw, the lifestyle he created for his family. I saw, the respect that he had when, just walking around like his properties and stuff, and with his staff, and it was awesome to see. So, I think the idea of entrepreneurship came, from seeing that. I think the folks that inspired me were, I wanted to be like, and take this any way you wanted to, but back in the day when I was a kid, like, Donald Trump was a man in business. Like, I read his books, I would read, Warren Buffett, Robert Kiyosaki, all the Dale Carnegies and whatever. So, I really wanted to be, one of these guys. I wanted to build, so, yeah, I mean, all those guys once I started reading, it was like, oh, I can do this, And that's one thing my dad always taught me, is like, whatever you want to focus on, you can make it happen. You just gotta get out there and do it. And that's just one thing I just try to preach to everyone, is there's a million people with ideas. There's so many smart people out there. 1% of them, if that, are gonna act on it. And half of those people are gonna, push that idea on someone else, because they just don't have the confidence to go take the risk themselves. So, yeah.
So, yes, and I love that, and I love how, there's people, like, regardless of whatever people's opinions are, you'll always find good information, right? You can always take what you want from out of it, and what you learn from it. And I bring that up just to say, it might be out of topic, but, like, even God, right? God can use, like, maybe your enemy. God can use somebody that you wouldn't even think, like someone who just comes in the store, off the street, or wherever, to give you a word. And so if you are looking, right, and you are into your stuff and into everything, like, you'll find a word that, like, speaks life to you, and that's gonna help you grow and gonna help you move and motivate even more. And so I think so many times people don't get to know people or read things or do things because they're so worried from, like, where the source is coming from. But sometimes I think you gotta pick and choose. Like, after you read, I think it's kind of like discernment. Like, if it's not good for you, or okay, I'm just gonna lay this one to the side. But sometimes there's books out there, or even people that come into your life that can give you a word that speak life into you, and you don't take it and you just let it fall because of who it is and where they're from. And so I just wanted to expound on that a little bit because I know people are so quick to just be like, oh my gosh, like, over whose name is spoken or whatever. And it's like, no, there's a lot of good things, especially like with Trump. He was a great business guy. Like, he still is a great business guy, from what I know. And, from what I know, we'll pause. But, there's a lot of things to learn, and if you ever watched the shows, like, you learned a lot from it, like, business wise, and how to handle things business if you're a business savvy person. Obviously, I'm not, so those techniques didn't work for me, as you see, in that aspect, in different business. But I just always want to say that anybody could bring you a word, and anything can bring you a word, if you have the heart to know, the ears to hear, and the eyes to see it. So I just kind of wanted to expound on that a little bit. And so I want to ask you, what are some great books that you would recommend besides your own? Come on, make it happen. Shameless plug. But what are some books, or just even, like, what are some words that people have spoken into your life, that have given you life, that have changed you, that maybe you would want to share over the airwaves, or those who are watching live, that has stuck with you, and then maybe you would want to share it with them, and that maybe it would do something impactful for them as well?
Yeah, I think so. Zig Ziglar was like the guy who got me, like, super fired up, and, like, that made me feel like I could really, make an imprint on this world. And obviously a very successful salesman, but he believed that you could help everyone that you would encounter. His famous quote was, "I'll see you at the top," is how he would leave everyone in his closing remarks. And it just goes to show that you can win and you can help others win along the way. I'm really big on win-win. Like, people say that's not real. It can be. It's just got to be a focus. So yeah, Zig Ziglar, I think How to Win Friends and Influence People is the other, is it Carnegie? I think that was an amazing book. That one really changed, like, my trajectory. I think that book, start there. And I think there's a lot of good guys out there. There's so many books coming out there. I think Gary Vee's got some good stuff. Grant Cardone, Take What You Made. And I think you made a good point on discernment. Like, I don't agree with a lot of things that a lot of people say, but you got to be able to, sift through that. It's like media now, like, right?
Yeah.
Like, you go read, like, a headline on Facebook and then think that's news. Like, that's the real. Like, you got to be able to take and pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think start there. That'll. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's where everyone needs to start.
Yes, and so, such great things that you have shared so much on here, and something that you just said, like, about sifting out and doing that, and, I think sometimes, I'm going to lose my train of thought because I'm seeing these comments come in as well. I'm going to get back to that, because, all right, hold on, there's some people in here, so I lost track, guys, because I see your comments in here. We're not ignoring you. So, Nicole, thank you for tuning in. Michelet, yes. We always love to hear your guys' comments and love when you chat with us. Christian, thank you for tuning in. Nicholas Molina. We have Florida in the house. Michigan in the house. California in the house. Texas in the house. Come on. Christian and Nicholas are out there from San Antonio. Come on. And so, as you guys who always tune in, we're not just local here in Colorado, we're global, so we like to call ourselves Glocal here, so we reach the world. And so thank you guys for always being faithful, tuning in, sharing your comments in the chat, in the lives, and we appreciate everything that you say. And, there's a lot of people in here. Be your biggest fan. They love that. Ordering your steps and then making it happen, self-care in here. So we see all your comments in here, and so if you guys have any questions, again, feel free, and we'll try to get to them. As you know, sometimes we don't see them because they go pretty quick. So yeah, go ahead and just drop them in the chat. And so what do you have next, Andrew? You're a great entrepreneur, making things happen. What do you foresee in the future of you wanting to do, and what bigger things do you have coming ahead?
Yeah, so with this book, I mean, I think at first it was something that obviously I wanted to get it out if it could help someone, but it was also like personal, it was like, something I wanted to do for myself. But now that it's out there, it's like I feel now it may be a little bit more that I'm called to do, which is to go and get it in the hands of as many people as possible. There'll be haters out there as like, it's not a bestseller or whatever, and maybe it will be, but it's like, I mean, really the goal was to do it. So, I mean, to me, I've already won.
Yeah.
We've already hit a milestone, and now it's just to like get out there and travel. So I'll be on the road, trying to help people make it happen in their own lives. And then, I guess on the professional level, the call center here, we're National Direct Call Solutions. We got some really cool campaigns, projects coming along. So just building that company up. We've got the greatest people that work there. Sip It and Wing It, we're expanding. We're expanding to Austin. Actually, we had our first Austin location open today, so that was huge. And then the real estate development. So we're going to build some homes here in San Antonio. We're looking at Laredo, Texas as well. And it's going to be kind of a new concept and green, eco-friendly as much as possible, with also looking pretty badass.
Awesome. And so there's a question for you in here that says, what does your self-care practice look like?
Oh, man. I should probably have worn black, so I look more But, I believe, like, you need to take time when you need time. Like, I don't have like a designated, like, oh, Monday I'm gonna go do this. Other than my haircuts, those are non-negotiable every Thursday. But
shout out to barbers.
But I do make sure, like, as I wake up, it's not straight to the phone. It's kind of just a gratitude time. My son thinks I'm wild because, like, I literally have a pep rally every day. Like, every day I wake up, we're clapping, we're thanking the Lord, we're shouting, just being grateful. And I challenge you to try it. I mean, you can't, I think, like, we take a lot of things for granted if we're not living in gratitude. So you need to, like, really dive into that moment, like, every day as much as you can, and just think about, all that you have. Because even in our roughest moments, like, we still have so much. I mean, look at other parts of the world. So my daily self-care routine is really just, I think the most important thing that I do is wake up with gratitude every day, have that little pep rally. I do set aside at least 15 minutes, some days a little more hectic, but at least 15 minutes to read. And then exercise, obviously. I try and get in at least 30 minutes, and that's just to clear, obviously, all the junk you deal with. You need some sort of stress relief.
Yes.
So I think that's important. But I mean, I firmly believe in, I don't just live this Monday through Friday life. Obviously, as an entrepreneur, you don't stop working. But if it's Monday, I'm lying. I could never take a Monday off. But, I mean, if it's Monday at 2 p.m. and I'm drained, then I'm going to go take an hour for myself and maybe just take a walk. Or, if I want to go have a beer, or if I need to go have a taco, whatever I need, I'm going to do that, because you are your greatest asset. And if you're not happy, if you're not feeling good, it's not good for anybody. It's not good
Yeah.
for your employer, your partners, your spouse, your kids. So Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think sometimes we just let ourselves get overworked and it's like, it's Tuesday at 3 and you're just about to explode. Take some you time. Go get a massage if you need to. Go to the gym. We can't just continue to live our lives like this for 40, 50 years, just Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, whatever your schedule is. You have to take care of yourself first. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, and then being self-aware, guys. Like, I love what you said, like, if like, you're drained, one key thing is being self-aware, because I can tell you from experience from a long time ago, I would just go, constantly doing all kinds of things all the time and would ignore my body, and it was to the point where I just physically got sick. And so you guys really got to just make sure you're self-aware. If your body's telling you something, listen to it, because it's never wrong. Yes, and so, I wanted to bring up, before we head out here today, one of the things that you said about, haters are going to hate, right? And one thing I do want to point out, though, is because you said you already won. And I love that, because you have already won. And one thing from the beginning of this interview that you said, as long as it reaches that one person, right? So no matter if it becomes a bestseller, no matter if it doesn't, your whole goal, right, is to reach that one that you can impact and make a difference. And so I just wanted to put that out there, because, guys, we got to remember what we're doing. What is your why? You got to remember your why and what it's there for, right? And not get so caught up in everything else, but know your why. And so I love that you brought that out of, like, as long as you're just reaching that one, and we can all help each other and reach that one and make an impact and make a difference. And so I just wanted to bring that up. And so, before we head out here today, I just want to know if there's anything that we haven't talked about that maybe you want to share, or any shout outs, or any good advice that you'd want to give to entrepreneurs, authors out there, anything that you would like to share.
Yeah, totally. I think just something that we spoke about here is just like, you have to be your own greatest fan. You got to believe in you. I think it's funny. I had sent the book out in a draft to like some friends or whatever, and I was like, "Hey guys," and the first thing like someone said was like there was a misspelling, and I just thought that was hilarious, because I'm like, there's a whole damn book here, and like you're critiquing like that there's not an apostrophe here, like so it's like you just gotta like keep moving. Like I think I've had at least 10 people like, "Oh my God, I've always wanted to write a book," and it's something like, "Can you help me?" And it's like, I love that, because it's like, yes, you can. Like, let's go. So just you got to be your own biggest fan. Like, there's gonna be the critics out there, the people that tell you, "Well, what kind of business are you gonna start? Or you think you're qualified for that position? Or just always the naysayers out there, and we can be our own biggest naysayer at times.
Yeah.
But just having that confidence in yourself and knowing, if you fail, you're gonna get back up, and you will at least learn the lesson that's gonna help you succeed next time. So that's just what I want to leave everyone out with today. Is just be your own biggest fan. I mean, you're all you got sometimes.
Yes.
So we're more than capable to make it happen.
Yes, well, thank you so much, and such great advice. Be your biggest fan, guys. You have to be in this world, especially in the world that we live in now. You have to be your biggest fan, and you got to know who you are. So those of you who are just like tuning in, jumped in late, go re-watch, because even as we talked in here earlier, there's tons of gems in here. And so write those down. You'll be able to go back and be like, remember, you need a little self-talk to yourself. Remember the key things that have been said to you guys, the encouragement here. And I love that Andrew has brought so much life to the show and has spoke so much life, guys. A lot of people say, "Oh, thank you so much for having the show," but I feel like thank you guys, because you guys bring so much what I need to hear, and I think it's more for me than anybody else a lot of the times, and so I love it. And so I just want to thank you for your time today, Andrew, for coming on and sharing about your book. And guys, we're going to link that so you could go get a book. And those of you who are in Texas, because we got a lot of Texans in here, next time there's some book signings, we'll let you know. We'll link it in the website so you guys can go check it out. But we're going to link everything there so you can get connected, get a book, and don't forget to share, rewatch, share it, and everything. And so, Andrew, thank you so much for coming on today and hanging out here with KUHS Denver on the stream. And so, before we head out today, I want to remind anybody who's watching, as I always like to remind you, if no one has told you today, I want to let you know that you have purpose, you are loved, and you belong. And so, your man, Andrew, signing out, and your girl, Melissa, signing out here on Ignite with Melissa on KUHS Denver. Love, peace, and God bless y'all.
Thank you.